Hello everyone! In today's video, we're going to go over how to do the Trinity stitch in crochet using US terms. In this tutorial, I was using this loops and threads yarn in the color fuchsia, as well as a 5mm crochet hook and scissors to cut off my work, though this stitch would work with whatever size yarn and corresponding hook that you may have. We're going to go ahead and get started with a slip knot, which you can do as always however is easiest for you. And then once we have our slip knot, we're just going to make sure that we are chaining an even number of chains. So I'm going to go ahead and chain 20, but you would chain however many that you need for your desired length for your project. And to chain, we're just going to yarn over and pull it through the loop that's already on our hook. Alright, so that is 20 chains completed for me. And then in order to start our first row, what we're going to do is we're going to find the second chain from the hook. So not this one here, but this one. And we're going to start with a single crochet. So we're going to insert our hook, pull up a loop through the chain. Now we have 2 loops on our hook, 1 and 2. We're going to yarn over, pull through both of those loops. And then what we're going to do now is we're going to start on the Trinity stitch. So what we're going to do is we're going to single crochet 3 together. So starting in that same chain that we just put the single crochet in, we're going to start as if we're doing a single crochet again. So we're going to insert our hook. We're going to pull up a loop. Now we have 2 loops on our hook. And what we're going to do now is we're actually going to insert our hook into the next chain. We're going to pull up a loop again. Now we have 3 loops on our hook, 1, 2, and 3. And then into the next chain again, we're going to insert our hook. We're going to pull up a loop. And now we have 4 loops on our hook, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And what we're going to do is we're going to yarn over and pull through all 4 of those. And then in order to finish off this stitch here, we're going to chain 1. And we want to make sure that we are crocheting fairly loosely for this stitch. So moving on to our next single crochet 3 together, we're going to start by working into this chain again, the one that we just worked into last. So we're going to insert our hook, pull up a loop. Into the next chain, we're going to insert our hook and pull up a loop again. And finally, into the third chain here, we're going to insert our hook, pull up a loop. And we have 4 loops on our hook again. We're going to yarn over, pull through all 4 of those. And then we're going to go ahead and chain 1. So we're just going to continue doing this until we get near the end of the row again. So we'll do 1 more together and then we'll meet at the end of the row. So into the same chain that we just worked into last, we're going to insert, pull up a loop. Into the next chain after that, we're going to insert and pull up a loop, 3 loops on our hook. And then 1 more, we're going to insert into the next chain, pull up a loop, 4 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over, pull through 4, and then we're going to loosely chain 1. So I'm going to meet you at my last Trinity stitch of the row. So if you need to go back, you can go ahead and do that. But if not, meet me at the end of the row and we can go over how to turn our work. So I'm at what's going to be my last Trinity stitch for this row. So you can see I have 2 chains left, and that is correct because we are going to again be working into this chain that we just worked into for the last stitch. So we're going to once again insert into the same chain that we just worked into, pull up a loop, insert into the second chain, pull up a loop, and finally into the last chain for the chain. We're going to insert, pull up a loop. We have 4 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over, pull through all 4. And we're not going to chain 1 here. What we're actually going to do is into that last chain again, we're going to put a single crochet. So we're going to insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. And then in order to turn our work, we are going to chain 1 now. And then we're ready to get started on the second row. So getting started on the second row here, what we're going to do is in this first stitch right beneath us is we're just going to put a single crochet. So we're going to insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. And then we're going to start by doing that Trinity stitch again. So in this same stitch that we just put our single crochet, we're going to start by inserting, pull up a loop, and then we're going to insert into the next stitch after that, insert, pull up a loop, and then finally into this space right here, which should be the chain 1 space that we did in the previous row. So we're going to insert, pull up a loop. Now we have 4 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through 4. And that's why it's especially important to make sure that you're not crocheting too tightly, because if you are, especially on this chain 1 space, which I just did here, it can be hard to insert your hook and to do the stitch for the next row. So now we're going to do that again. So working into this space that we just worked into, we're going to insert, pull up a loop, and then into the next stitch, we're going to insert, pull up a loop. We currently have 3 loops on our hook. And then finally into this space here, we're going to insert and pull up a loop. So now we once again have 4 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over, pull through all 4. And then to finish out the stitch, we're going to chain 1. So we're just going to again do this until we get near the end of the row again. So we'll do 1 more together. So working into this space that we just finished our last stitch into, we're going to insert, pull up a loop. Into the next stitch, we're going to insert and pull up a loop. And then finally into this space right here, we're going to insert and pull up a loop. 4 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over, pull through all 4, and then chain 1. So if you want to meet me again near the end of your row, so we can go over how to finish it once more. All right, so I'm at the end of my row here. So you can see I have 2 stitches left. This last one might be a little difficult to see. So I have 1 and 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to again be working into this space here that I worked into for my last stitch. So insert, pull up a loop, then inserting into the next stitch and pull up a loop, and then finally inserting into this last stitch here and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 4, and then again I am not going to be chaining 1 here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to reinsert into that last stitch beneath us and do a single crochet. So pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. And then in order to turn, I'm going to again chain 1 and turn my work. So we're always beginning and ending the row with just a single crochet without a chain 1. So if you need to, you can use the timestamps below for the previous 2 rows, but it's just going to be a 1 row repeat until you get to your desired length. So I'm going to work up a few more rows so that we can look at the pattern of the stitch once a few more rows are worked up. And then I'll meet you at my last row so that we can go over how to finish our project together. I'm about to get started on what's going to be the last row for my project here. But before I do that, I just wanted to take a closer look at the stitch. So you can see it looks like maybe little stars here or maybe little daisies. It's called both. And you can also see if you turn to the side that it is a bit 3-dimensional. So it's just something to keep in mind if that's what you're looking for in a stitch. You can also see that this is a pretty dense stitch. There's not a lot of holes poking through. So if you're using something like 100% cotton for your yarn, this would make a great dish towel or a pot holder. So just something to keep in mind if you want to use this stitch for that. So I've already chained one to turn my work. So I'm just going to get started on this last row here. And I did also want to point out, especially if you're having difficulties with the number of stitches per row, I wanted to point out that you may be making a mistake at the beginning or the end by adding an extra chain one. So that's just something you might want to keep an eye out for in case you're ending up with one too many stitches at the end of a row. So to start this row, we're just going to do a single crochet into this first stitch here. And then we're going to start with that single crochet 3 together. So into that same stitch that we just put the single crochet into, we're going to insert, pull up a loop, and then into the next stitch after that, we're going to insert and pull up a loop. And then I just also wanted to point out, so what we're always going to be ending this single crochet 3 together in is we're always going to be ending in this chain 1 space. So you can see that it is smaller than the previous 2 that we worked into, and that is because, of course, it is a chain 1 space and not an actual stitch. So just a visual cue to look out for. You always want to be ending this single crochet 3 together in that space. So now I have 4 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over, pull through all 4. Then I'm going to go ahead and chain 1. And that's also why it's so important that your chain 1s, especially, you are keeping a loose tension, because you don't want to crochet those so tight that you're not able to get your hook inside, especially too because that's also where you're going to be starting the next single crochet 3 together. So you want to make sure that it's loose enough that you can both fit your hook inside and you can put the beginning and end of the single crochet 3 together in there. So again, I'm going to insert, pull up a loop, insert into the next stitch and pull up a loop. And I'm once again at this chain 1 space. You can see it is smaller than the others. I'm going to insert, pull up a loop, 4 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through 4, and then chain 1. And that's also specifically how we are getting the pattern below. So this little daisy-like thing is because we are beginning and starting in that chain 1 space. So it is super important to make sure that you're always beginning and ending your single crochet 3 together in the chain 1 spaces. So if you want to meet me again near the end of the row, and we can go over how to finish our project together. All right, so I am near the end of my row and I need to do 1 more stitch of single crochet 3 together. So working into this chain 1 space that I just finished my last stitch in, I'm going to insert, pull up a loop, then into the next stitch I'm going to insert and pull up a loop, and finally into the last stitch I'm going to insert and pull up a loop. Then I'm going to yarn over and pull through 4. And again, you may be tempted to add another chain 1 space here, but you don't want to do that. What we're just going to do is we're going to put a single crochet into that last stitch again. And then to finish my project, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to chain 1 now. And then I'm going to grab my scissors and cut off, pull my hook up, and then pull tight. And then you can knot there if you want to make sure that it's more secure, but all you'd have left to do is you'd need to weave this back into the project, as well as this over here, which is the excess from the slip knot that we did to begin. But this is our finished project for the Trinity stitch. Please let me know, as always, if you have any questions in the comments down below, or if there are any other stitches or tutorials that you'd like to see in a future video. Thank you.